Ever wonder why some people seem completely unshakable? Why no matter what life throws at them, they find a way to stay grounded, clear-headed, and even grateful? Ever wonder how certain individuals walk through hardship without bitterness, face setbacks without despair, and wake up each morning with a sense of purpose that the world around them simply cannot erode? It is not luck. It is not personality. It is not that their lives are easier or their problems smaller. It is that they have learned something most people never discover: that the quality of your thinking determines the quality of your life. And no one understood this more deeply than the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius. Over 2,000 years ago, Marcus Aurelius ruled the greatest empire the world had ever seen. He fought wars, managed plagues, faced betrayal, and buried people he loved. By any measure, his life was filled with weight and difficulty. And yet the private journal he kept, never intended for anyone else to read, is not a record of complaint or bitterness. It is one of the most extraordinary documents of positive, disciplined thinking in all of human history. That journal became known as the Meditations, and what it teaches about how to think is just as powerful today as it was when Marcus wrote it by candlelight 2 millennia ago. The foundation of everything Marcus believed about positive thinking begins with a single idea: your mind is yours, not your circumstances, not your reputation, not your body. Your mind, the way you choose to interpret events, the meaning you assign to what happens to you, the lens through which you see the world, that is entirely and exclusively under your control. He wrote that you have power over your mind, not outside events, and that realizing this is where true strength is found. This is not a passive observation. It is a call to action. It means that positive thinking, in the Stoic sense, is not wishful thinking. It is not pretending that bad things are good or forcing a smile over genuine pain. It is the disciplined, active choice to govern how you interpret your experience, to refuse to let circumstances write the story of who you are and how you feel. Most people do the opposite. They allow the outside world to dictate their inner world completely. Something goes wrong and they feel terrible. Someone criticizes them and they feel worthless. A plan fails and they feel hopeless. They have, without realizing it, handed the keys to their own mind over to events and other people. Marcus would say, take the keys back. One of the most practical tools Marcus used for positive thinking was what Stoics call reframing, the practice of consciously choosing a more useful and accurate interpretation of events. He wrote about looking for the good in every situation, not because good is always obvious, but because it is almost always present if you are willing to look for it. He described how even in the most difficult circumstances, there is something to learn, something to be grateful for, some evidence of human resilience or natural beauty or unexpected opportunity. He applied this to things most people would consider purely negative. Obstacles, he argued, are not interruptions to your progress. They are the path itself. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. This reframing is not denial. It is a higher form of honesty, an honest recognition that difficulty is not the enemy of a good life, but one of its essential ingredients. Every challenge you face is developing something in you that comfort never could. Every setback is revealing something about your character that success never would. When you train yourself to look for that truth, you stop fearing hard times and start meeting them with a kind of calm, purposeful engagement that changes everything. Marcus also taught extensively about the power of the present moment as a tool for positive thinking. He observed that most human suffering is not caused by what is actually happening right now, but by what the mind adds to it. The worry about what might happen next, the regret about what already happened, the comparisons to how things used to be or how they should be. He wrote that each of us suffers more in imagination than in reality. The present moment, stripped of the mind's additions, is almost always manageable. It is almost always enough. This is why Marcus practiced radical presence. When he was eating, he was eating. When he was listening, he was listening. When he was working, he was working. Not because he was avoiding the future or the past, but because he understood that the present is the only place where life actually occurs and where your mind can actually do anything useful. Positive thinking, for Marcus, meant bringing your full attention and your best self to whatever is directly in front of you. Not half of your attention, while the other half worries about things that may never happen. Another pillar of Marcus Aurelius's positive thinking was gratitude. Not the shallow, performative gratitude of listing things you are supposed to appreciate, but a deep, practiced, genuine recognition of what is already good in your life right now. He wrote about being thankful for his teachers, for his family, for his health, for the ability to think clearly, for the beauty of the natural world. He did this not because his life was without difficulty, but precisely because it was full of difficulty. Gratitude was his counterweight. It was the practice that kept him from being consumed by what was hard, by anchoring him in what was good. Modern research has confirmed what Marcus knew intuitively. The consistent practice of gratitude physically rewires the brain over time. It trains your attention to notice the positive rather than defaulting to the negative. It builds a kind of psychological resilience that makes you harder to knock down and faster to recover when you are. Marcus Aurelius also understood something that most people miss about negative emotions. They are not caused by events. They are caused by judgments about events. He wrote that if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And you have the power to revoke that estimate at any moment. This is a profound shift in how to relate to your own emotional life. When you feel anxious, the anxiety is not the situation. It is your interpretation of the situation. When you feel resentful, the resentment is not the other person. It is your judgment about what they did and what it means. When you feel hopeless, the hopelessness is not the circumstances. It is the story you are telling about those circumstances. This does not mean your emotions are wrong or that you should suppress them. It means that you have more agency over them than you think. You can examine the story. You can question the interpretation. You can ask, is this thought actually true? Is it useful? Is it serving me or destroying me? And if it is destroying you, you can choose a different thought, not a false one, a truer one that acknowledges the difficulty without surrendering to it. Marcus also practiced what modern psychology now calls cognitive distancing, stepping back from your own thoughts and observing them rather than being swept away by them. He would describe negative thoughts as things that arise in the mind, acknowledge them, and then consciously redirect his attention. He understood that you are not your thoughts. You are the one who watches your thoughts, and the one who watches has a choice about what to do with them. This practice changes everything. When a fearful thought arises, instead of believing it automatically and spiraling, you can notice it. You can say, there is a fearful thought. Is it accurate? Is it helpful? And then you can decide how much power to give it. This is not suppression, it is sovereignty. It is the difference between being ruled by your mind and ruling it. Perhaps the most important thing Marcus Aurelius taught about positive thinking is this. It is a practice, not a personality trait. You are not born positive or negative. You become one or the other through the habits of thought you cultivate every single day. Marcus did not wake up naturally serene and grateful. He woke up and chose every morning to practice serenity and gratitude. He wrote his meditations not because he had already mastered these ideas, but because he needed to remind himself of them constantly. He was human, he struggled, he failed, and he returned to the practice day after day with the quiet persistence of someone who understood that the mind is a garden. It does not tend itself. You must show up. You must pull the weeds. You must plant the things you want to grow and water them with daily attention. So what does this look like in your life today? It looks like catching yourself in a negative interpretation and asking whether it is the only possible interpretation. It looks like pausing before you spiral into worry and asking what is actually true right now, in this moment. It looks like ending each day by naming 3 things, however small, that were genuinely good. It looks like meeting an obstacle not with the question, why is this happening to me, but with the question, what is this teaching me? It looks like remembering, when someone frustrates or disappoints you, that their behavior is about them and your response is about you. It looks like choosing again and again to return to the one place where you actually have power, your own mind. Marcus Aurelius lived one of the most demanding lives in human history and managed to face it with grace, clarity, and purpose. Not because he was special, but because he practiced. Every day he sat down and worked on the quality of his thinking. Every day he reminded himself of what was true, what was good, what was within his control, and what was worth his attention. That practice is available to you right now. The mind you have is enough. The life you are living is enough. The moment you are in is enough. All that is required is the decision, and then the daily, imperfect, persistent practice to think well. As Marcus wrote to himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Begin today.